Alright, so this may look like some garbage content from the fucking title of this video. And I know I've done this before. I did this in my big tier list video that I did at the height of the tier list thing. Where I saw All-Star do this and I'm like, fuck this shit. Let's do this properly. Sears list, a bit iffy, you know what I mean? All love, but a bit iffy. You know, everyone has different opinions on characters, and sometimes you just get mad sitting there watching wrong opinions. Obviously, that's just a joke. Calm down. There's no such thing as a wrong opinion. It'd just be misinformation at that point. But this is fucking art. And there is no fucking right and wrong here. And you do well to remember that. But so this is a different one, though. This is one I found today. It has some more characters. I don't know who these three characters at the bottom are. I think this is Louise, the girl that Mikas has saved. I know who the rest of them are. These three, I'm not sure. I don't know who the fuck that is. This looks like a military police dude, and that's some Mali dude that I don't remember. And we're going to go through this. I've organized them sort of chronologically. It took me a fucking while. It's sort of when they get interesting. Like Grisha obviously was introduced up here, but he's down here with Faye, Carla, and Dina, and I'll talk about them because they sort of all go together. So we have this. I guess we'll put these ones in extra when we get there, but I guess I didn't even look at the ratings here. So you have S, F, D. Let's get rid of F. I don't think we need all of these distinctions. I'm not going to rename them like All-Star did. It was a bit of a meme video, but I'm going to try and do this as legitimately as possible. And this will not be garbage content, because this is going to be me talking about Attack on Titan for probably like an hour, where I just analyze all the little characters. And I'll probably end up making these points and expounding on them and making them different videos. Like I made one about Mika, so that was sort of a little look at what sort of makes her interesting. Gross. Even though I sort of went over why I don't really like her. I made one about Levi that no one watched. It sort of has a bad thumbnail, where I talked about Levi being infallible. It wasn't very clear from the title that it was an analysis video, but if you haven't seen either one of those videos, it's good. Jaeger Master Plan, you can probably go and watch that and get something out of it, even though the conclusion is wrong. But anyway. And this is also done after 120, so that's the most recent chapter that came out. Big one, didn't really give any insight into any characters besides Eren, obviously not down for euthanasia, and Zeke. Now, I noticed Rod Reese is not here, which is not that big of a deal, but that's the only character I could see that was missing. I think everyone else that's anyway important is here, and even some that obviously aren't, because I don't fucking remember who they are. Who the fuck is this guy? I sort of have a vague idea of who these people are, but who the fuck is that guy? Are we peeking the mic? No, we're doing good. OBS is recording this time. Thank God. So we're going to start with Eren. Now, this Eren is an S. Pre-time skip Eren would probably be, I don't know if he's a C or a B, because he's inoffensive, really. He's sort of just like generic protagonist boy, hates himself, which he still does, I would guess. It's a little bit, it's not done as well as Shinji, but obviously now he's completely different. Oh, that'd be a hot take. Do I say that no one here is anyway near as good as Shinji? But we're trying to get likes on this video. I know what it's like to get your mass dislikes on an Attack on Titan video. What else do we say about Eren? Should I reiterate on the point about the... let's bring him back down and reiterate on this point. So, originally I made the point that Isayama's early character writing is terrible. I originally said that, like... So these are sort of the way the characters are introduced. And it takes him a while to make these original characters interesting. When he gets to here with Hanji, Levi, and Erwin, these are like the first characters he introduces that are great. We'll get to that when we get to them. But let's talk about this more as an overview thing for now. So my idea is that originally, because in the manga, it's different from the anime. If you've only seen the early parts of the series in the anime, which some people probably have, I know I had for a little while, the structure's completely different. So, basically all of Trust happens before we see any of the training arc. So basically the training arc is retconned into the story to sort of make characters more interesting. Like, none of these characters have, like, they're all named, but none of them have any importance, like, besides the original three. Like, the rest of them are just nobodies, really. And then they do the training arc to try and make him important. I guess John sort of got introduced, but they introduced Marlo, Sasha, Connie, Historia, sort of, Ymir, sort of, and all of these, although the shifters are halfway introduced. So yeah, so they introduce afterwards. So they're sort of retconned into existence. So what my thinking on Isayama is that originally introduces these three characters and they're very bland and very boring. I'd argue the two of them still are. But Eren as well is pretty fucking boring. Hans is not that interesting of a character. So originally, obviously, when you're first making a manga, mangas very frequently get cancelled. So you don't want to like double in on all your best ideas until you're like an established author. Like if Isayama gets to a next series, I am fucking terrified about how good it'll be. Because he'll be able to do what he wants. He's made the manga people, his publishers, so much money that they'll let him do whatever the fuck he wants. So originally he just had to make normal characters. They're pretty generic, they're pretty lame. They're just characters that move the plot along and have personality. That's what they're there for. And all of these people they all sort of have one trait. John's like the arrogant one, Marco's gay. I mean that in the least offensive way possible, because it's literally true that Marco was gay. But he's like, John's like, he loves John. Sasha eats, Connie's stupid. His story is nice, Ymir's rude. Reiner's like the big brother, Bertolt's quiet, and he's cunty. They're all like have one trait. And it's like, this is enough for him to be able to write interactions, but they have no depth to them. So, and Isayama realizes, oh shit, my characters are pretty boring. I have to find a way to make them interesting. So after Trost, when the only ones that are in any way interesting are these three, and I'd even argue that they were not at this point, he shoehorns in all of the training arc that makes these characters more interesting. It fleshes out them a little bit. It even introduces most of them. Gross. Historia and Ymir aren't really focused on anything, but Reiner, Bertolt, and especially Annie are introduced more. So there's more Annie stuff in the training thing, in the manga rather. Because Isayama was like, fuck, Annie's the next villain, we have to introduce her now so people understand who she is when the reveal happens that, holy shit, it was Annie. So he puts more focus on her, which makes the reveal more obvious, but obviously he makes all of his reveals obvious on purpose, but that's a different statement for a different video. So, let me take a breath. So what he does is that he uses the training arc, right, as a way to make these characters interesting when they previously were not. I sort of go over this as the wave of characters. He realizes these characters were boring, so he's like, all right, this is the way we make them interesting. And then these ones are introduced, Hanji, Levi, and Erwin. And these people are immediately interesting, and they're immediately far more deep, have far more depth to them. So it's like, now we're starting to get introduced to good characters, and we're retconning in these characters to have development. Then season 2 comes around, and we focus on the side characters. So Sasha gets an episode, and Connie gets an episode to flesh them out. And that's probably all the fleshing out they ever get, and it's fine. We know more about them. We know who they are. They're around in the background. We can play off them. They still have their pretty basic traits. They're not the best characters, but they work. And then Historia becomes one of the best characters, and so does Ymir, and so do these guys. These guys all get massive backstory. Not really backstory. Well, these two do. But they all get massive development, and they're immediately some of the favorite characters. Maybe less so Bertolt, but these three are definitely people's favorite characters. Historia's fantastic. Reiner's fantastic. Ymir is great. Alright, so that's season 2, so that's a second wave. So how he did this is he realized that these ones were Titan shifters, and that makes them inherently interesting. And Historia is royalty, so that makes her inherently interesting. Now these ones, they sort of get a bit of backstory to make them more interesting. Marco's dead. So John and these three are sort of left behind, like, they still sort of suck. John still sucks to this day, so does Armin, so does Mikasa. We'll get to how he makes Eren interesting in a second. So then he keeps introducing interesting characters. Zachley's really interesting. He's sort of like fucking insane. Niall's interesting. He's sort of lawful evil, and then he becomes lawful neutral. Sasha's parents are pretty cool. I think that's Sasha's other parents, though it could be a restorationist. It could be Zeke's grandmother, maybe? I think it might be Mrs. Blouse, though. And Marlo and Hitch are obviously interesting. Hitch is sort of slutty. Marlo's like very Eren-like. He's like one of our first Eren parallels. Kenny obviously is fucking awesome. She's not really that big of a character. None of these people are. Flock's interesting because he's literally a fodder character if they lived, and that's a very interesting concept for a character. Zeke's obviously interesting, PX interesting. And so they then retroactively make Grisha interesting, Carla and Dina interesting with his flashback, so that's another wave of how he goes back and makes characters interesting. And then the time skip happened. Now this time skip is designed to make Eren a great character, because this is what makes Eren fantastic, right? He takes the time off to completely change Eren as a character so he can come back interesting. So Eren is inherently more interesting after the time skip. I don't know if I'm doing a very good job at explaining this. So basically it takes waves to retroactively make certain characters interesting by making them Titan shifters and secret royalty. And that's how they make all these characters interesting. While these characters, as he progresses, he doesn't have to retroactively make them interesting because they're just interesting from the get-go. Like basically everyone from Hanji down. So yeah, that's sort of that explanation. I hope you got that. I know I've said it in other videos, so some of you are just annoyed that I'm making the same point again, and I think I've made it better other places. But hopefully some of you get that. So Eren, after the time slip, is definitely an S-rank character. He's really fucking great. He's super interesting. We don't know what's going on. He's got big personality now. He looks fucking awesome. He's just a cool boy. Now, Mikasa is showing more promise. I am notoriously not a very big fan of Mikasa or Armin. Mikasa's role in the plot is to be Eren's protector. That's why she has motivation for nearly everything that's going on. She just wants to protect Eren. This also makes her laughably boring and uninteresting from like a thematic level. They're starting to get with it now. She left her scarf behind. I obviously think that she's going to end up with John, and so this is his way of leaving Eren behind. I still think Eren was being honest when he said that he hated Mikasa, at least at the time. He probably won't die hating Mikasa or finish the series hating Mikasa. But Mikasa is hooking up with our boy John. So she's left that behind. She's starting to diverge from her love from Eren, which is interesting. Also, to sort of offset this boringness, Isayama makes her one of the strongest characters, so she's always doing something cool that endears us to her. So I'm going to actually put her in C, when I don't think I would have. I definitely, when I did this last time in that big tier list video, I definitely didn't put her in C. Armin's still getting a D rank. It's almost not even that he's a bad character, he just really fucking annoys me. And I guess that could come down to writing, but like his type of character I never like. He's sort of like Norman from The Promised Neverland. It's just like, get him the fuck out of here. I don't like it. The tactful sort of sook that's not really a sook, and then he like weirdly gets like really ruthless, and he has like a darker side to him, which is interesting, I guess. It's just annoying, and it's like I've seen this character a million times before. He doesn't have anything that makes him inherently interesting. He's sort of the overly sympathetic, like, all right, we understand his thematic purpose, and it's just to me. Now, Hans, do we put him in C or B? Hans has a character arc. It's the most obvious character arc in the series. He at first is too cowardly to attack the Smiling Titan, and he overcomes this cowardice to attack it to no avail, but that's just because Eren needed some motivation to fucking punch it and get mad. It's a sad death. When Hans does it, you sort of know it's coming. His character arc could only end with him killing the Smiling Titan or dying by the Smiling Titan. He ended up dying. He's likable. He's sort of like the drunk, which is a bit generic. Let's put him in C tier above Mikasa. We'll try and organize it in the rows as well. John is probably getting a D tier. I don't find him interesting at all. He's definitely better than Armin, though. Generic character. He's really got no development since like the very beginning of the series. He's a jerk, then overcomes that jerkness, and sort of is always just sitting there doing nothing, like scowling at the new recruits, like, you're just like me when I first showed up. And it's like, we get it. People are presumptuous and they don't understand situations until they actually go through them. We get it. He sort of has development. They try to throw this arc on him in season 3 of the anime and the corresponding part of the manga where he like kills someone and he has like internal conflict about killing people. He's sort of supposed to be like the moral center of the series, where he's supposed to be like a reflection of us. He always has tried to be like that. Like, we would try to do good to become safe, and then he overcomes that and joins the Scouts, and it's just sort of like a bit of a generic plot line. He's not very interesting. He's not very fun to watch or anything like that. Marlowe really isn't a character. He's like he doesn't do anything. This has been very negative off the start. I promise we're going to have a shit ton of characters in the C tier. But as I said, the early introduction characters are not the best. I think I'd put him in C just because he's inoffensive. There was always some mystery around Marlowe because he's got like there's a scene in the manga that got cut from the anime where it's like Marlowe could have won this exercise, but he chose not to because thematic reason about strategy or something. I forget what it is exactly. I'll put him here. Sasha gets a B tier, and I'd say Connie also gets a B tier. They're cool, they're around in the background, they're not overly important. Connie's definitely more interesting now, but Sasha's redesign was so fucking sick here with the sniper, so fucking cool. Connie's really cool now where he's just fucking pissed at everybody. He's like, you stupid fuck. And he's just yelling at Anya Capone. He's like, you dumb fuck. You have no idea what's going on, you fucking manipulated prick. He's cool. I like both of these characters quite a bit, but they're not deep enough to be A tier or anything like that. Historia is an absolute S tier. She's fucking fantastic. I wish she got more to do, but I understand her role. I definitely like her more than Eren. I sort of respect Eren as a character and what Isayama did more than actually like him, so he'll probably be at the bottom bit of the S tier. Historia is definitely a better character than him. I think Ymir is the epitome of an A-tier character. She's really good. She wasn't around for very long, but she made a deep impact on the series. Historia's motivation, their lesbianic relationship is fucking awesome. She's really cool. The scene where she jumps off and cuts herself reveals that she's a time shifter is one of my favorites. Just a fucking fantastic character, but not quite around enough or cool enough in my book to be an S tier. Reiner is another S tier. I'd probably put him behind Eren. Again, it's just sort of a respect that you have for both of these characters and how well written they are in correlation to each other and about each other. They're just really good characters. They're just so solid. Reiner trying to kill himself is probably the most iconic page in my mind from the entire series. I can't wait until we get the anime-only reactions to that. It'll be great. I think Bertolt, is he the best possible B tier character, or is he an A tier character? Let's put him in A tier. I think the last minute development they give to Bertolt is really cool. The whole speech about you've done nothing wrong, but you still have to die for my convenience is really cool. That's a very, very, and how he like comes to terms with himself, like, if we win, I'm fine with it. If we lose, I'm fine with it. Both ways will be equally as just. I love that bit of his character development. I think the way he comes out at the end, sort of finally comes out of his shell, is really cool. Yeah, he's a great character. Annie is probably my favorite character, mostly because when I was 12, I thought she was really hot. But there's definitely depth here, and I still like her regardless. I don't really usually call characters relatable at all. I'd say Annie, I definitely related to her a bit. Just sort of in the way that when she gets found out, how she reacts. Because I was always scheming when I was a little kid. I would be on YouTube all the time, and I didn't know if my parents would be okay with that, so I hid it from them. And I had all these elaborate ways that I could never ever get caught. I cleared the history every time. The way I'd sit away from my door. And there's just little things like that. So I had these big secrets that no one knew about, and I had a million ways to hide them. And whenever I'd get called out on any little secret, no matter how small it was, I'd always laugh when I got caught with a secret. And people would always be like, we know you're lying when you're laughing. But it was just no. When I get caught, I actually laugh. It's just it's very similar to the reaction she had of oh, this weight is off my shoulders now. I don't have to keep this secret anymore. And I find that very relatable, the way she did that, and that sort of cemented it. And it was a really cool reaction. I used to get goosebumps all the time watching that scene. It was a great reveal to me, even though I figured it out immediately who it was. I was like, who's the one blonde character that didn't go with them, but we know about it? And I was like, oh, it's obviously Annie's the female Titan. Female Titans itself is really cool. The backstory with her father is incredibly interesting that we still don't know about to this fucking day. We're all hoping for her to come back. I swear to God, if she comes back this month, the same month we get Casca back, oof. That's a big oof from me. I don't know if there's much more to say about Annie. Probably the coolest Titan shifter. The Warhammer Titan. It sucks that Eren's Titan never fucking changes, and it's just the same base design. It's like, it would be really cool if he had that weird helmet thing that Willy Tyber's sister had. That shit was so cool. Fuck, excuse me. But besides that, I think Annie's got the coolest Titan. And she's really hot, you know what I mean? Keith Shardis, like the ultimate cut character, you know what I mean? It's like, you just see him and you're like, oh, he's sort of pathetic. He's like the hard ass, but it's all to cover up his insecurity about Grisha marrying his fucking crush and him being pathetic. I don't know, it's sort of a good character, but is it better than Hans? I'd say not. I'd say he's the lower half of C tier. Nothing against him. It's just like, you see him and you don't want to think about him. Pixis is definitely a B tier. He's fun. He definitely fits with these two. He's like fun, but he's not the most important. He's always got a tactful mind. He's got principles he always sticks by. He's consistent within his character. He's very interesting. He's always doing what's best for the people. Pixis is great. I'd like to see where he ends up. Obviously, he's a Titan now. If that's the end of him, I'd like to sort of reflect on his character a bit more later down the track. Now, I guess this is a bit of a hot take. Hanji's definitely S tier. Is she better than Historia? I'm not sure. My instinct is to say yes. Hanji is one of my absolute favorite characters. She's fucking outstanding. She's great in every regard. She's super tactful. She's always got less information than her opponents, yet she always fucking wins. That's sort of plot armor related, but whatever. She's really fucking cool. She is a she. Don't give me this fucking bullshit talking point about how Isayama denied to confirm if she was a male or female. She's clearly a girl. Not that matters at all, but she's just fucking great. She's a mad scientist, but she's obviously my favorite parts of her is when she's serious. She's really cool. Our boy Levi is cooler though. Levi is absolutely the quintessential badass character, done to perfection. It's the best. I think it's the best I've ever seen this character. The Infallible video, you gotta go watch it. I really like that video, but no one watched it. Me making the point that Levi is infallible and that's what makes him cool. Every one of these other characters, especially towards the beginning, whenever they got in a fight with a Titan, you got tense. You're like, oh fuck, these Titans are not to be fucked with. Except for with Levi. Whenever Levi is in a combat situation, he's fine. Nothing can touch him. He never loses. He beats the Beast Titan twice. When we think it's insurmountable odds, you're like, no way he's going to beat the Beast Titan, beats him in fucking 2 seconds. There's no way he can beat all of these Titans and then get to the Beast Titan when they're in the forest after they drank the wine. He does it in a fucking second. He does it off screen. That's how fucking quick he did it. He doesn't give a fuck. He's the best fighter of all time. He's so fucking great. But what makes his character interesting is that he has to deal with everything else. We have to fear for Levi when he's doing everything else. He's completely the opposite and completely unique from every other character. So the way we make him a great character and make him relatable is through his relationship with people like Kenny, people like Erwin, where it's like a human relationship where he actually is vulnerable. There's that great scene before they go to Shinganshina to reclaim it, where he's secretly listening in on Armin, Eren, and Mikas's conversation about the sea. And it's like so depressing. It's like Levi really is alone in all this. Like he doesn't have any goals like this. He's just a bit of a lost boy. There's just so much there with Levi. It's such a deep character. People seem to like overcorrect. Like they don't think Levi's as good, so they say that he sucks and say that he's like, oh, he's just a badass character that does nothing and that's all that makes him cool and that's lame and shit. But no, that's obviously not true. He's clearly one of the deepest characters in the entire series. And obviously you're not paying attention if you just think he's like if you just think he's cool because he fights. That's stupid as fuck. Now, Erwin, speaking of overcorrections, I've never really liked Erwin as much as everyone else seems to. Very well written character, sort of Griffith if he chose the right decision to sacrifice himself for the betterment of everybody else. I don't know, I sort of dislike characters like Erwin in general, but it's so good. I'd say he's probably the bottom of A tier. The speech where he goes out is awesome, but like, I don't know. There's something about Erwin that I don't like. And I can't even really identify it. This is just how I feel. Niall. Now, Niall is pretty fucking awesome. I like him a lot. A lot more than most people. He's now a Titan. I'd say he's probably bottom of B tier. He's the shining light of the example that the military police can be good people. He's obviously Erwin's childhood friend and all of that. He's a good boy. He does good boy things. He got not Colt. He got Falco out of that situation. Shout out to our boy Niall. He deserves more respect than he gets. Zachary is probably equally in B tier. He's sort of not around a lot. Has a pretty fucking awesome death. Very interesting twist. He stands up to like what we think is like when we first introduce him in the Arian's trial scene, it's such a cool character. He like comments on how hot the day is, and he's like a fair judge when you would assume that it'd be corrupt at that level, and he actually sides with Aaron and the scouts at that meeting. It's really fucking cool. He's a cool subversion, and he's like, yeah, it's cool. You know what I mean? Zachary, a cool boy, and then when it's revealed that he's sort of like a fucking weird sex pervert, even cooler, you know what I mean? I'm assuming this is Mr. and Mrs. Blouse. Mrs. Blouse. I almost want to call this nothing characters. This is a good thing to have. Miss Blouse has nothing to do at all, is a nothing character. Mr. Blouse is pretty cool. He's more of an idea than a character. He's just supposed to represent the message of the series. He's inoffensive, but he's not a nothing character because he has a role. I'd put him with Marco here. Marlowe's pretty cool. I don't know. In the overall grand scheme of things, he didn't amount to much. He's used as an example of someone that dies in Shinganshi that we're supposed to care about. I say he's right here with Hans. He was cool he was a cool, interesting little tidbit as a comparison, an early comparison to our boy Aaron. We're already at 30 minutes and we're not even halfway through, but it's gonna get quicker. Yeah, he's a welcome addition. Hitch, I'm actually probably gonna put in B tier. God, this redesign is so hot. Fuck yes, Hitch. We're gonna put her next to Connie and stuff. She doesn't have that much of a role. I'm pretty sure she will when Annie returns. Obviously her relationship to Marlo is cool. The fact that she's a slut is pretty fucking awesome. Slut lives matter. We need more sluts in Attack on Titan. I think she's overall pretty fucking awesome. Now Kenny, let's not fuck around. S tier. Definitely up here in the top 3. I don't know if he's cooler than Levi. Sometimes Isayama realized that he killed Kenny way too quick. It makes sense for Kenny to die there. He probably had to die there. But he understands that Kenny is a fucking epic character. That's why he reintroduces him at every chance he gets to give a little tidbit into Kenny. Kenny is fucking awesome. His relationship with Yuri is what gives him the emotional depth to be here. His relationship with Levi is so good. The fact that Levi believed that Kenny was his father for so long is so awesome. Like the reveal, their conversation at the end, everyone's a slave to something, that shit is fucking awesome. Great shit. Absolute great shit. Kenny's so fucking great. The moment, the vulnerable moment with Levi where he's like, what were you to my mother? Because he thinks he's his father. He thinks Kenny's been his father the whole time. And he just goes, I was just her brother, you idiot. And it doesn't change anything about their relationship. It actually what do you call it? Certifies everything? No, cements everything. Like their relationship. It's like he was family. He just wasn't his father like he assumed. It's so cool. And why did you leave me? Oh, it's such a good fucking scene. It's better in the manga, because they draw it out a bit and then they go into the Yuri flashback, and the Yuri flashback with Kenny is so interesting. The fact that like the ultimate pacifist and they're like murdering military police boy, like got along so well, and he just wanted to understand what it's so good. What complexity in a fucking character. And he's fucking clever, he's funny, he's fun to watch. Big fucking props. What a great character. No, I don't like him as much as Levi or Annie. He's definitely probably 3. His story's mother, definitely more than a nothing character. Again, I'll put her in here. serves her purpose, pretty interesting. I'd put Frida here as well, not much of a character, pretty cool design, interesting when we see her, we don't see her very much. The fact that she's overwhelmed. Yuri also isn't on this list, but he'd probably just go here. Is sort of the characters that are inoffensive but really don't have much of an impact. The king is a nothing character, he has nothing to do with anything. Our boy Flock is a great villain. When he dies, we are all going to rejoice from happiness. He definitely gets a B for just being an absolute cunt. Shout out to our boy Flock. Zeke, I've always found to be incredibly fucking boring. Let's be honest here, boys. I find nothing... He's sort of the same way as Armin for me, where he has the same sort of emotional, like, fuck, I don't like it at all. I don't like watching him. I think he's boring. I don't like his personality at all. It's just nothing about him. But where do I put him? Because he's well written. I don't know. Do I just put him down here? Fuck it. He's better than these two, but I think in the last one I did, I put him in A tier. I don't know about young Zeke. We'll have to see how it all ends up. I hope he isn't the final villain. That would be a thorough anticlimax for me. I hope Eren just either kills him in the flashbacks or he realizes everything he did wrong and, like, kills himself or something. I don't know about our boy Zeke. He sort of fucking is boring and I hate him. I don't look forward to seeing him. Him developing it all is not interesting to me. And that's all we got to say about that. Speaking of that, we got another S tier. We got our girl Pieck. Now, Pieck is so fucking cool and not that deep, but she's definitely in my top 5 characters. Just the coolest bitch, you know what I mean? Sort of doesn't care. So it has that Shikamaru appeal from early Naruto where it looks like she doesn't care, but she's actually the fucking smartest girl. She's got all this shit figured out. She knew Zeke was a little cunt. She had it figured out all from the beginning. I think she's awesome. The way she says Gabby is so cool. I like everything about Pieck. Couldn't say a bad thing. I think her Titan is really fucking cool. The fact that it can swim is insane. I'm like, that's the coolest fucking shit ever. I don't give a fuck. Everyone hates the Quad Titan, thinks it's lame. That shit's awesome. Grisha. Where do we put Grisha? Is he S or A tier? He's not very interesting, though he is. He's not very fun to watch, though. I think he gets an A tier from me. I'd say probably behind Ymir. Very important. Well written, interesting, sympathetic, not that fun to watch. Faye really is a non-character. Shout out to Faye Valentine, you know what I mean? It's what I think about whenever I think of the name Faye. I'm like, wow, Faye Valentine's way better than this little bitch. He's just a motivation for Zeke, I guess for Zeke, and for Grisha, and I guess for Eren at some point. Not very much of a character though. Carla, not very much of a character. Bit bitchy at times. Probably she's a better mum than this bitch, so we'll put her here. Fuck, I feel like I need to throw up every time I record when I talk a lot. Dina, I guess we'll just put her with Carla. Not much of a character at all. Fuck, I'm having trouble. Why isn't it scrolling when I want it to scroll? Do I have a scroll lock on or some shit? Well, we know what we think about our boy Gross. Fucking scroll up. We ain't putting him in B tier, bitch. We're putting him in S tier. We'll put him at the bottom of S tier because he's not that much of an involvement, but what his character stands for, his relevancy to the plot, everything. Just watch my Sergeant Gross video. Fucking awesome. I love Sergeant Gross. He's that boy. Isami uses him in the cleverest way possible. That being said, our boy Kruger is also in S tier. What a fucking boy. I'd say, does he belong here? I think he's just really cool, so I'll put him ahead of Eren, but behind Historia. Really just fucking cool as shit, our boy Kruger. Garth. This boy goes in S tier too. Fuck this. Put him in S tier. Absolutely great. We'll put him behind Reiner and Eren. Just the coolest boy. Doesn't stand for this racist bullshit. Wants conscription for Malayans because they're fucking pussies and shit. He's fucking cool as shit. Let's go Magarth. I love him. He's going to help save the world because he's an understanding boy. Helos reincarnated. This dude is fucking cool. I went into this in the Jaeger master plan. He probably goes like here. honestly, he has like 3 lines of dialogue. He's the Malayan general before Magath. He gets killed by Eren. He has this awesome death where he doesn't give a fuck. He looks like he's seen the most shit out of anyone ever. Pretty cool bloke. Now, Porco. Notoriously, I think Porco is boring as fuck. Has no character. He does have a character arc, and we saw it play out. It started with him thinking he was better than Reiner, and it ended with him being better than Reiner. And about everything with his brother, the Jaw Titan, he was used as a hold by to get the Jaw Titan to cult. So we'll put him in C tier. I don't know, he's more interesting than like the nothing characters. We'll probably put him at the top of C tier, let's be honest. Marcel is a bit cooler than Porco, so we'll put him here. We'll put him at the bottom of B tier. Marcel, underrated, pretty fun. Understood everything better than everyone. Was like a cool leader, bro. He's like Reiner when he was acting, but actually real. Colt, not much of a character. Bit understandable, lovable. We'll put him above Porco here in C tier. Now, we all know where we're going with this. Can I please get, like... my scrolling on my laptop is not working. There's no water on my thing or anything. It should be working, but it's not. It's making it a struggle. But Gabby, we obviously know, is going in absolute S tier god. We'll put her in 5th. I don't like her as much as Pieck. I like her a bit more than Hanji and Historia. Now that I'm looking at this, is Historia better than Hanji? Yeah, Historia's best moments are better than Hanji's best moments. But this is probably my definitive top 5. I don't know who's left, but they ain't breaking that shit. Let's go here. Annie, Levi, Kenny, Pieck, and Gabby. Let's go. Historia just misses out. Falco, not that much of a character. Sort of an understanding bloke. Definitely better than Marcel. We'll put him at the peak of B tier, I think. Our boy Falco, he's round. He's nice to watch. He plays off Gabby very well, obviously. The confession is really fucking cute. That honestly probably gets me. These two aren't nothing characters, but they're not very big characters. Udo is more interesting than Zofia. Put him ahead of Mr. Blouse. She can probably go back here. Kiyomi. We haven't got much from her. She's interesting, definitely. We'll probably put her at the... she definitely goes ahead of Zackley and Niall. Not ahead of Hitch, though. I think this is fair. Kiyomi, pretty cool. Glad to see more. Willy, now, is he A or S tier? Let's see here. Assuming the master plan is correct in Willy's regard, he could be an S tier, but as of now, I think he's A tier, right below Yamiya. Above Grisha, above Bertolt, above Erwin. Miss Taibei is not a character. She has nothing to do with anything except she's the Warhammer Titan. She has like a line of dialogue. It's pretty lame. Her Titan's really cool though. Yelena is more of a B tier. Whenever Yelena's on screen, you're like, ugh, can we get on with this? The panel of her posing as the blimps come down is fucking tremendous. Her and Pixis, nah, she's below Connie, but I'd say let's put Hitch up here. This is a good way. I like this. Yelena, well written, pretty awesome. Gonna have a great death when we kill her eventually. Niccolo, more of a C tier character. I'd probably put him behind Hans. Not much to say about our boy Niccolo. I want to know if he was actually Pork and Sasha. Gris, Falco's uncle, Falco and Colt's uncle or whatever, not a character. This dude, not a character. His daughter, not a character. Carl Fritz, I'm going to put him in not a character for now. We definitely have to meet him at some point, and I think he'll probably be one of the best characters. Xavier, more than not a character, but sort of just like a C tier. Sort of interesting. We don't get very much to him, not that fun to watch. Anya Capon is definitely equal with like Niccolo. We'll put him above him since he gets more screen time. Oh, we got to double up with Niccolo. We'll put him next to Niccolo up here. Kaya is cool as fuck. She like runs at Gabby with a knife. That's badass. Probably at the bottom of B tier, though. We'll put her in front of Marcel, I guess. And Louise, she is going to play interestingly off Mikasa, so let's put her right above Mikasa here. And these ones, I have no idea who they are, so they'll go in nothing characters. I want comments explaining exactly who the fuck they are. How long did that go? Was it an hour? 40 minutes, even better. So this is the list. Let's just go over it quickly again. Our top 5, we got Annie, then Levi, then Kenny, then Piek, then Gabby. That's a solid fucking top 5. More girls than boys. Fucking progressive Isayama. You know what I mean? There are way more... Oh, no. Maybe there's one more male than female. In my S tier, rather. So how many do we have overall? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 girls, 7 boys. Ugh. A travesty, I tell you. Should have moved Ymir up when we had the chance. And then all of these are males, too. That's no good. But we have more we got quality over quantity is what I'm looking for. Female characters. We got a shit ton of them. What the fuck am I talking about? So yeah, that's a top 5. Then Historia right outside with Hanji, Kruger, Eren, Reiner, McGarth, and Gross. That's a fucking solid S tier list. Look at these fucking great characters. All of them fucking great. Absolutely great characters. Dude, I made an analysis video on the character that I think is C, and it's awesome. This series, boy, does it have some great characters. Let's fucking go. It has awesome plot too, weaving and winding everywhere. Attack on Titan's pretty fucking great. It's finally getting the recognition it deserves. You know what I mean. Can't wait for the best part to get adapted, and so the anime onlys can be enlightened. Not as enlightened as us, because the manga is a million times better than the anime, but I'm making a video about that. The video called Wit Studio is not as good as you think, or what is it actually called? Wit Studio did not do that good of a job adapting Attack on Titan. That's going to be fun. That's going to get a shit ton of dislikes. That's a preview for you. And that's it. That's all I got to say about Attack on Titan's characters. Definitely not all I've got to say, but all I've got to say for now. Let's open up Audacity. Get ready to sign out here. Support links in the description below. Click them at your own ado. Patreon, Streamlabs, Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. That's fun. I have like 26 followers. Get that shit up there. And that's all I got to say about that. Thanks.